Alrighty, guys. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. Alright, here we are. Now, as you know, I do a lot of the Hdmi internal mods. Okay, and we did one a while ago, probably about 3 or 4 months ago, for the 1.0 through 1.4 boards. Okay, well, now Mr. Kuberka wanted me to do a video with the 1.6, okay, which is a little different than the previous mentioned ones, okay. So, him, Mr. Xetoxic, I should say, aka, Patric Jansen, um, Tony, and Daz's console mods, okay, Darian Mortan. Well, those three got together. For the PCB, Tony and Patric Jansen both designed this thing together. And then, of course, Darren, okay, he went ahead and, well, Darian Mortan, he went ahead and he co-authored this guide here, which is going to guide us through the entire process of putting Tony Kuberka's and Patric Jansen's kit in. Okay, we're going to be using Electron Shepherd's HDMI board, which is an analog board, and I mean it puts out a great video. I mean it's beautiful at 720p. It's absolutely beautiful. It's not an upscaler, all right. An upscaler would be kind of very expensive, as you know, RetroTink, as you know, $389 option. Okay, but for this, for just good old HDMI 720p, this thing is perfect. It's not expensive. Okay, I mean, I put them in for $60. Tony puts them in for $60. Same thing. Okay, it's not that expensive, and it works absolutely fabulous. So we're gonna get on with this thing, and I'm gonna show you the parts that are involved in this. Okay, now as you can see, I've got a 1.6 here. All right, now what we have is we have the lower board, which is 2 millimeter thick, which means that you don't have to stack boards like other PCB makers. All right, I mean it's just stacking like two boards and then having a third one on top. That's just ridiculous. Okay, and it also can give you problems later on. All right, so we have the lower board, then we have the upper board. Okay, if you notice, the section is cut out. Well, that's because Microsoft, in their wisdom, decided to put the actual video chip on steroids, okay, and they bulked it up. All right, so you gotta allow for that thing, you gotta allow for the spacing in between. And if you don't, then this board, if this was solid here, it would get mounted on an angle like that. Okay, not cool. All right, turns into a nightmare. Okay, now we have analog Shepherd's chip. It's a really good chip. All right, of course it comes with instructions. Tony's kit includes this jig, which is very important. You're gonna love that thing. I'm telling you right now, that thing saves you a ton of time. All right. Now, also, it comes with its own set of screws, and as you can see, there's nylon on them. Okay, there's a reason for that, because of the ground lug. Okay, which happens to be like right here. Okay, so you don't want to ground that. That's the reason why we're using those screws. Okay, and then of course he also includes this with the kit. Okay, this fits in the Xbox, of course, and then that way then you don't have this open hole in the back of the Xbox. Okay, so now what we're going to do here, all right, just so you can see, all right, this is a 1.6 I pulled out of my shed. All right, now I'm using a Keiko adapter, which adapts it to HDMI. All right, and Keiko, that's a good product right there, but that thing is like $50. Okay, so I mean, if you want a dongle, that's fine and dandy. It's a great product, but we're talking about this here, which is internal, which is nice. Okay, there's no dongle, there's no nothing. Plug the HDMI directly in and off you go. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to power this on here. Okay, and I'm going to swap over to input number 2. Okay, as you can see, that's 720 by 480. Okay, and pretty much is a non-modded console, by the way. All right, it hasn't been opened. Well, the previous owner opened it, I don't know why, okay, but they did. So anyway, as you can see, it all works fine. Go to your settings here, all right, and we'll go to video, okay. We got 480p, 720p, 1080i is 1080 interlaced, okay. I personally don't like it. Just give me 720p. I'm good to go, all right. And of course, it's set up at widescreen, all right. And you know, pretty much there you have it, all right. Now, all right, we're gonna shut this thing down. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin from the beginning and end at the end, okay? So now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring this over. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to swap this back here. So that way then we have our guide up here, all right? And as you can see, it says in the guide, okay? Please read all disclaimers below prior to install. This guide is written as a suggestion based on our experience in what works best for us. There may be different ways to perform these modifications. Some methods may be correct and some methods may be incorrect. I've seen incorrect ones. It's pretty scary. All right. You should install this mod using experience and methods that you're comfortable with and using and have worked well for you in the past. Okay. As you can see, the PCB designer, Xetoxic, Patric Jansen, seller, guide, and co-author, TK's Custom Supermodz, Tony Kuberka. The guide designer and author, co-author, Daz's Console Mods, Darian Mortan, and the tester would be me. Alright, so, none of these parties above are responsible if you damage your console during the modification by attempting to install. You are agreeing to these terms. Okay? So, now, we're going to bring this down here. Here's the install service kit right here. Using the install, you know, these are all the kits right here. USA, EU, internal HDMI install service, okay? That's TK's Custom Supermodz. He puts them in too, all right? 4 boards in the project, okay? And this is a Wii to HDMI adapter board that's 1mm thick. The lower adapter board is 2mm thick, okay? So you can use, you know, a Wii to HDMI, or you can use Electron Shepherds, all right? And we're going to be using the Electron Shepherds. 1.0 to 1.6 upper board adapter, 1mm thick, okay? Board requires soldering 4 wires between the adapter board and electron analog to connect the component video signal traces and the 5-volt power trace. It is a large size to provide clearance for the high-profile 1.6 caliber video encoder found only on the 1.6 version motherboards, okay? So if you got a 1.0 through 1.5 or whatever, hey, let it rip skip, you know, it's fine and dandy, all right? If you got a 1.6, you're going to want to follow this guide because that's what this guide is geared for, okay? So, we got removal of the AV port and all that kind of good stuff. So, this is that's step 2. But really, step 1 is pulling the console apart, all right? So, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take this poor, innocent little console right here, all right? And, yeah, there it is. I'm going to violate it, okay? So, we're going to take this kit. I'm going to put it someplace safe. Yeah. As you all know, I build a lot of consoles. I build a ton of consoles. And unfortunately, you know, with my schedule and the orders that I have, I really don't have the time to clean my desk. Although, I think this week I will. Alright, so we're going to take this all off of here. Okay, I'm going to put that safely right there. We're going to unplug this. Remember to do that. It's kind of important. You don't want to wind up a french fry or barbecued or anything like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pull our AV port. And we're going to get rid of this Keiko. Because we're going to make sure that it's all going to work without any of that crap. Okay? Now we're going to put this over. Okay? And as you can see, the seals have been broken already. Alright? And I didn't do it. The guy did. So this is the first time opening the damn thing. So, you know, just telling you. All right. And I'm going to use this right here. Okay. So there we go. Nice and clean. You're going to have 2 screws. One, it's going to be under 2 underneath each seal. All right. Then you're going to pick up. You're going to pick up this stupid rubber foot halfway. Pull the screw out, leave it attached so that way then you don't wind up ripping all the glue out of it or anything like that. Okay, I'm going to pull that screw. Then, let's see here. Getting kind of close to the camera. Yeah, I'm going to pull that one. Okay. And then we're going to pull the screw right in. All right. So, you got 6 screws all together to pull it out, pull it apart. All right. Pretty easy, nice and simple. No plastic clips, none of that crap. Although on the inside of this thing, there's some plastic clips to get the front off and all that crap. So, you know, you're going to have to get into that. But anyway, okay. Now that we got it apart, that should come up, in which it does. I'm going to place that over here. And as you can see, we have a stock Xbox here with the original Seagate hard drive, the Samsung drive, the original crappy freaking cable. Ugh, I hate that thing. All right, and of course, you know, all this stuff. So now we're going to take this, and there's going to be a screw here, which we're going to take out and pop that puppy right there. All right, and then this hard drive should come out. Yep. Now, a way to get rid of the power cable to the hard drive, take a needle nose plier. This makes it nice and easy. Wedge it in there, and guess what? There you go. Nice and simple. Okay, you're not tugging on it. You're not jamming on it. You're not doing any of that crap, because you don't want to do that. You don't want to damage it. And then we pull that out of there. There. Hard drive gone. Okay? Well, not gone, but you know what I'm saying. Okay? Now, DVD drive, 2 screws. You got one here. You'll see it when you open it up. And that's 2 right there. Okay? I'm going to pull that screw out of there. Hopefully we'll get this one out without dropping it too. Okay? Good. Now, carefully and easily lift this up. Alright, you'll see a yellow cord in the back. Just pull it out of the DVD drive. Pull the data cable out, the IDE cable. There we go. Okay? Now, I am not going to mod this thing. Alright, because that's a totally different video. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we're just going to do the install on the HDMI. Alright? So, we're going to pull that cable up in there. And also, remember, this cable here, this side is a little bigger than this side. So, don't plug it in the wrong way. Okay? Bad things will happen. Alright? Now, we're going to go ahead. We're going to pull the fan wire off. We're going to pull up, straight up on the power cable. Then, we're going to go ahead. We're going to pull on the power button cable. We're going to pull these controller ports out. It's actually a USB, but you know, hey, what the hell. Okay, and we got that all out of there. Now, there's a bunch of screws. Take every one of them out. Do not leave one in, otherwise you will not get the motherboard out. It's that simple. So, I'm going to take these screws out of here. Okay. And let's see here. Yeah, there's another one right here. Okay. One behind these capacitors here. Another one here. Whoopsie. Whoa. Where you going? What are you doing, huh? Alright. Pop this out of here. And this screw out of here. Okay. We'll put them behind here. Alright, and as you can see, all the screws are now removed. All your nice little holes right there. Okay. Now what you're going to do, you're going to get this cable up and out of the way. Controller cable's out of the way. You're going to go ahead, you're going to lift up, and then you're going to pull forward, and the motherboard will come right out. Do not rip the fan wire off. Okay. And there you have it. Okay, there is the chassis right there. There's the motherboard. Okay. And we should be all good to go, I think. Alright. Now, put that right there. Okay, I'm going to put this console right over there. This is the specimen. Okay, as you can see. Alright. Now, okay. We're going to go ahead I want you to look at this part right here. You see this part right here? It's the AV port that's got to come out. Okay? That's got to come out of there. So, there's many ways to do this. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now. First thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn on my desoldering iron. Because, yes, I have a desoldering iron. Okay? Also, what I use is what's called a solder sucker. Alright? Now, I would recommend, if you're going to do this, okay, if you're going to do this on your own, I would recommend getting a solder sucker, all right? A manual one you can get on Amazon for like 20 bucks, okay? You can get one with the iron built in. It's got a plunger. You push down on it and off you go, all right? This one right here, this one, that was kind of expensive, okay, you know? But it does everything I need. You know, it's got a warm air wand, it's got a solder sucker, and of course it's got a soldering iron, okay? Then of course, you know, if you really get into it, you know, I mean, I got hot tweezers, okay? And then for the small stuff, I got my C210 iron, which we're going to be using a lot, all right? The bigger iron I'm going to be using for the grounding lugs, and you'll understand the reason why, because there's a lot more heat that you have to transfer, and I'm not going to mess up my little iron, okay? It's just not going to happen. All right, now, all right, in preparation of this, what you're going to do, just so you can see, and I hope that you can see real good, all right, is we have this right here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this damn thing and highly recommend what's known as Captain tape, okay? No, not Captain Kangaroo, all right, but Captain tape. All right, and what you want to do is you want to gingerly place this over all of these components right here, okay? And don't pull it tight, just put it so that way then it grabs every single bit of this thing right here, all right? And then what you want to do is you want to cut it. So, I use my trusty side cutters here. Alright, and you're going to put that there and just wrap that around there, okay? So that way then this is protected, because we are going to use a warm air wand on this. And I'm going to put one more strip right here just for the hell of it. I don't have to, but I'm going to. You know what? The tape is cheap. Try and buy another motherboard, alright? The reason why I'm doing this is the simple fact is you don't want parts if you're using a warm air wand, you don't want parts to be hit with that warm air and all of a sudden they go flying all over the place, because then you're going to be in a world of hurt, okay? So anyway, there you go. Now, I'm going to take some decent flux, okay? Make sure that you can see this. Yep, good. I'm going to flux these anchor points real good. The anchor points are very important to flux. Okay, and then you're going to have all of these little tiny video pins right here. Alright? We're going to flux that. Like so. Okay? Now, as you can see in the guide here, it says, you're not using Captain tape, a heat gun, low melt solder, a desoldering gun, or breaking the port apart and removing the pins one at a time. Alright? That's like caveman archaic, but it will work. Always helps to flow all the pins before attempting any removal of old solder. It can be difficult to flow. There are multiple pins to remove, and you will need all of them to flow well for removal. I can't say that any better than that. Excuse me. The simple fact is this got to flow before anything falls off easily. If you do not do that, you're going to wind up with a mess on your hands, okay? So, make sure you flux everything real good, all right? Now, the way I do it, like I did it in the last video, all right? I know that you can see that, I hope. Yeah, you can. All right. I'm going to move this over here a little bit. I'm going to grab Mr. Solder Sucker. Yes. I love that sound. It's my favorite sound. Suck, suck, suck. Alright, now, most important pins you want to do first are the anchor pins. Alright? So I'm going to support the board with my finger right here like this. And I'm going to get down on this pin. And I'm going to wiggle it around till it starts squeaking. And which is starting to squeak. I'm watching the solder actually flow. And I'm going to suck this thing up real good. Okay. Do it one more time here just to make sure. Okay. And then you're going to do this one here. Now, most of the time you're not going to get all the solder out of it. But the majority you will. Okay. I'm going to wiggle it around a little bit. And then what we're going to do is suck that up like that. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go over these pins right here. Every single one of them. Okay. Oop. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Now you're not going to get all the solder off of them, but that's okay because I'm using a warm air wand. Alright, now that's all done. Alright, got that solder where it's to the point where it's going to flow. Alright, now we're going to use a little bit more flux, like so, just to be on the safe side. You ain't going to hurt anything by using a little flux, that's for sure. We'll flux the thing real good. You want to flux it up. Don't play any games. I'm going to flux this again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flux this again. Alright, now, what we're going to do is, I'm going to hang this off the edge of the board here. Okay, now I want you to be able to see this. Alright, as I try to remove this port. Okay, now, yeah boy. Alright, what you want to do? We will go ahead, we will turn off the desolderer, and then we're going to take this warm air wand, okay? And I'm going to set this thing up, and right now it's going to sit at 804 degrees. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing, once it gets there, come on, there you go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flow over all this stuff. Notice I'm pointing away from the motherboard, away from all those resistors, okay? And I think you know the reason why, alright? You don't need to heat that up. What you need to do is heat up these anchors, get them real good. The way you see the solder flowing, you'll see it turn real shiny, okay? And get all these pins, every single one of them. You just want to make sure that you get every pin good and hot. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this and grab hold of this port right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to wiggle it. Real careful. Don't friggin' jerk the damn thing. Alright, you just want to wiggle it enough to see where you see the solder start to move. You see the anchor pin start to move, and then you start to see it break away. Then we're going to grab the other side. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull that off of there. Okay? And then, once we get that off of there, everything should start moving pretty easily. Okay? And there you have it, okay? It's all done. There it is. Alright, it's now removed. So we'll turn this off. Now, of course, I have to hold this thing because it's pointing at the wall. And, you know, at 800 and something odd degrees, wood burns. Okay, so I don't want to burn my wall. Alright, so we're just going to let this cool down a little bit here. Once it gets to about 300 degrees, then it's fine. You won't burn the wall. You won't burn any of that crap, okay? But, you know, anything over like 472 degrees, you don't point it at the wall, all right? Just don't. You'll be very sorry, okay? Because you will be calling the fire department, okay? All over an Xbox. Not cool. Gee, honey, I burned the house down. What were you working on? My Xbox. Really? Okay, yeah, good luck explaining that. See you in divorce court. All right, so anyway. Alright, we're good now. Now it'll automatically shut off. Okay? And now what we're left with here, okay, is an empty video port. Okay? Which is what we want. Now, alright, there's a thing called solder washing. Okay? Now mind you, the guy doesn't say anything about solder washing. All right, I do it. But as it says here, remove all solder from cleared port area that is above the surface of the motherboard. The soldering gun or soldering braid wick can be used for this. It's not required to clear the holes out completely, but the solder can't be above the surface level because the lower adapter board must sit flat on the motherboard. It's highly recommended to pre-tin blob the points on the top side of the motherboard and the lower board will be soldered, that the lower board will be soldered too. Okay, so before I do that, there's your guide right there. Okay, so make sure that you're following along with the guide. Okay, now the main thing that I'm going to do here is what's called a solder wash. Alright, now it's not mentioned in there, but it's kind of nice to do. Alright, and the reason being is we're getting rid of all the old solder that was on this thing from 2005. Alright, and we're going to replace it with fresh solder. Okay, so a little more flux. Okay, now I'm going to be using a C210 soldering iron right here. Okay, and I'm running the iron 789 degrees. Okay, I want to make sure I go through these holes here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, I'm going to go through each and every hole. And we're going to apply solder. Just like that. I'm going to wash all that old solder out of there. Okay. Now I know you don't have to do this, but I do it. Because I don't want any problems. And this actually acts as pre-tinning the hole. I just don't. I've had way too many problems where the older solder, different temperature, thermal expansion, cracks, all that kind of good stuff. So I would rather use the solder that I have in my hand right here, and know that this stuff is, you know, good to go. All right, now, as he said, solder braid, kind of important right here. Make sure you got some of this, all right? Because then what we're going to do is we're going to take this iron right here, and we're going to work this solder up and through. There we go. We'll take all the excess solder off that we don't need. And then what we do is we just clip this part off right here. See? Just like this. Bink. That's it. We're good. Alright. Now that everything is calmed down, we can remove this tape. There you are. And of course, as you can see, no components stuck to it. Life is grand. Alright, we're done with that mess. Get rid of that. Alright. Now, one more time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my eyes on so I can see. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm holding my iron one more time. Like I said, work with it. It's good to go. Now we're going to flip this over. Okay? Alright, and now what we're going to do is we're going to flux this side right here. There we go. And cut up a fresh piece right here. Grab the iron. And you'll see it starts to suck up all that excess solder. Very good. Like I said, the solder braid is really cheap. It's well worth it. Buy some, okay? Now, alright, now that's already good and fluxed here. What we're going to do is we're going to tin the top of this thing, okay? We're going to make sure all the holes get nice fresh solder. Even though we don't use all the holes, still and yet, you know what? Better to fill them all. Okay. Make sure it goes through. In which it is. Okay. Try to be like Bob Ross. Happy little solder balls. Yes. Please make sure your balls are happy. Oh my God, what the hell am I freaking saying? Alright, and then we get this. That way we know for sure there is fresh solder throughout all of them, okay? In which they're definitely fresh solder throughout all of them. That's what's known as a wash, okay? Now, again, as Tony stated, okay, make sure none of these balls are up. Okay, so again, one more time with this. I know it's repetition, but you know what? Like I said, if you want it right and you don't want to wind up having to do it over, for the love of God, make sure you wipe it all up. And that will keep them nice and clean and that they're nice and flat. Okay? Now, yeah, that's pretty flat. Okay? That's definitely pretty flat. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this lower part of the board right here. This is the lower part. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to slam that down on there. And make sure that it fits flat against the board. You know, I still feel something. Go over it one more time just to be on the safe side. It's like I said, I don't want to do it over again. Yep, there's some extra solder right there. There we go. All right, that got it all. Oh yeah, and when the stuff starts burning your hands, that's when you know you got it. All right. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, now, all right, once that's on there, one of the most important things right here to note is this jig. This jig is wonderful. Okay, I suggest using it. You can print it, 3D print it. Tony's got them. Okay, you know, really cool device. Why? Because it sits right there just like that, nice and flush. And then we line up the points on the board. And what we do is we take the little screws here from the motherboard. And we shove one in there like that. Okay. And then we take another one. And we shove that little mother right in there like that. Now, before you tighten them, make sure that everything is lined up. Okay. In which it is. Press down on that. You don't want to feel the board move. Want to tighten it one at a time, very gingerly, very carefully, until you got it nice and tight. Now, all right. Okay, looks like everything is in alignment, as you can see. All right. Now that you got that done, and it's all lined up, we're going to go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to flux the hell out of this thing here. So we're going to do one there. We want to get the flux down in there. Make sure you get flux on the points on the board too. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead. I'm going to take our iron and we're going to start soldering these things. Okay. Now, I'm using a bent tip C210. All right, there's a reason for that. Number one, the hole that's on the bottom of that's on the motherboard, which we pre-tinned and all that, this fits right in there. Okay, and then we just apply the solder. You'll feel the thing slip down in the hole. Then just apply the solder. There you go. That's one. Now, mind you, I'm the type of person, you don't let the board work you. You work the board. That's two. I hate when that happens. Yep, that royally sucks. You put a little too much on. But that's okay. That's why we have solder braid. See, normally I'm using my, well, it's a magnifying glass, but unfortunately I can't because I'm trying to give you guys a good view of this. So we'll just go ahead, and what we'll do is we'll suck up all that extra solder. Just like that. There you go. It's gone. Yep. Okay, good. Now, we will try this again here. There you go. There you go. All right, now. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, good. Like I said, just a little patience. Don't get excited if something goes wrong, because sometimes things do go wrong. You can't help that. Okay. There we go. Okay, now, and you got the big port right here. All right, now, 1, 2, 3. Go. And then we got one more right here. There we go. Sure that goes in there. Perfect. Okay. Now. Yep. Take a look underneath my scope. Make sure that there's nothing shorted. Nope. Good. Hey, this one. Let me see here. I just want to make sure. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay. Just want to make sure. Just don't want no problems. You know what I'm saying here. Yep. Okay, good. All right. So now all the points are pretty much where they need to be. Okay. All right. Now, you should be able to unscrew this thing and that board not move. There you are. Okay. Not moving anywhere. pretty much got all the solder points flowed through. Life is grand. All right, and that is the lower board. Not too shabby, I must say. A little problem here and there, but that's okay though. It's all good. Now that this is done, okay, and we got everything all soldered and it's pretty solid. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to work on the top board. All right, however though, just to show you, let me see here. Get this right here. Okay. As you can see, we did all these steps right here. And then we lined up the board. We used the jig. And we screwed it all down. We soldered all the points. Pretty much we're all good to go now. Okay? And everything should look just like that. Okay? Now, this is for the 1.0 board. Okay? We're doing 1.6. Okay? So, we're going to bring this over to the 1.6. And there is the 1.6 board. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do this right here. So now I'm going to take this board, I'm going to put this over here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, we're going to adjust this down here. So that way then you can see. Alright. And here we are. Now. Okay. Now one of the most important things about this, you have the upper board. Make sure the lettering is towards you. Alright, and this chip is going to mount right there, just like that. Now, most important part. Okay, let's see here. You have to make sure that all of these are lined up properly. Alright? Once they're lined up properly, and you got them to the point where everything is all hunky-dory, goody-woody, alright, what you're going to do is you're going to take a clamp like this, or whatever you're going to do here, and then what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze this down on there just like that. Okay? Now, once that's done, you will see that our anchor points are all lined up. So you're going to take some flux here, and what you're going to do is you're going to anchor these 2 points. Alright? We'll flux that there like that. And then we'll flux that like that. We'll take our solder, which I have some right here. And then we'll take our iron. And then what we're going to do is we're going to touch this on there and make sure that we're touching the ring. Then we're going to take the solder and we're going to load this. Just like that. Make sure that we got our solder all the way around. There you are. Okay. That's one down. And we'll do the further one. Make sure that that gets all around there. Make sure you get a good amount of solder on there. And you should wind up with it looking just like that. Okay? Then you can unclamp it. And then go back here and make sure that your parts are lined up. Especially these holes here. They have got to be lined up. Okay? If they're not lined up right here, you've got a problem. Alright? But anyway, these are lined up. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to flux these points right here. And I'm going to flux these right here. Okay. I'm going to get a fresh piece of solder right here. Okay. I'll take our iron. I'm going to put it in the hole and just flow some solder through there, just like that. And then this one. Just like that. Then we come around here, do the same thing. There you have it. Okay, just got that all soldered right there, and you can tell it went through because it's solder on the top side of the analog chip here. All right, now now with that being done, all right, what I like to do is, just for the hell of it, you don't have to do this, but I do it anyway. All right, just to give it a little bit more strength. I'll take this little guy right here and just roll some solder around it. There we go. And there you have it. There we are. Okay. Now that thing is anchored pretty freaking good. Alright. So we have nothing really to worry about. Now, once that's done, now this is the pain in the ass part, okay, with this. Because you have to use this wire right here. Alright. So now what I'm going to do, alright, is I'm going to go ahead and we have to attach these pins here to these pins here. So what we'll do is we will flux these that and like that. Okay. And then we'll take our iron and then we'll go ahead and we'll make sure that the flux goes all the way through. Okay. All right. Now we got that all done. Now we're going to take this wire here, okay, and this is the pain in the butt part, all right, but we got to do it. All right, now this is stranded wire, so I would suggest that you go ahead and twist this stuff, okay, just like that. All right, and we'll start off over here. PB, we'll shove it through that hole just like that. And then what we'll do is, once it's through the hole, we'll bend it like that. That way then it's through the hole, it's locked in place. Okay, we'll expose a little bit on the top, and then what we're going to do is we're going to apply solder to this. Alright, so and pull it back just a little bit. And then Go ahead and we'll solder that in there. We don't have to worry about burning the wire because it's silicone. Alright. Now, as you can see, it's locked in place. The solder went all the way through. Okay, so we're pretty good on that. You know what we'll do though, just for the hell of it, just to make sure, we'll go ahead and we'll dab a little solder on there. That way then for sure this thing is definitely locked in there. And then we can take our flush cut right here, take the tip off. That's it. Okay, now once that's done, now the main part is to figure out how much you're going to need here. Okay, give yourself a good amount just for the hell of it. Strip that, twist the wire up, and like I said, this is stranded wire. And then what you're going to do, you're going to bend it down, and you're going to try and shove it through this hole here. You can go through. Like I said, this is a real cutie right here, but it has to be done. Nope. Oh, he's so cute. There we go. There it is. And then what you want to do is take the back of it and then just bend it over like that. Once that's done, take a solder, goes right on through. Okay. And yeah, that definitely went on through. Alright, but we'll go ahead, just to be on the safe side. Like I said, these little extra steps really do help. There we go. And then clip that off right there. And that's one. Alright. Notice I said, yeah, that's one. Okay. Now, we've only got 3 more to do. So, like I said, strip a lot. Okay. He gives you enough wire to do this. So, you know, I mean, strip a lot of it. Alright. Then repeat what I just did there. Yeah, you little mother. Muddle. Spin that around real good. That stranded wire, it's good wire. And these holes are really small. So just twist it while you're pushing it. There you go. Okay, and then bend it like that. Pull back on it just a little bit, just enough to expose the port. And then just take your solder. And like I said, you don't have to worry about burning the wire. There you go. Another one done. And as you can see, it really went through there. So all we have to do now is just clip this off right here. There we go. And then take your solder. There you go. Takes care of that. Now we got another one to push through here. Like I said, it gives you enough, so give yourself some extra just in case. And spin this around. There you go. And bend it down. And of course, it's always a big pain in the butt to try and get it through that damn hole. You don't want to have any whiskers because you don't want it touching the other wire. Twist that. Pull on that. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to solder this. Make sure you have no whiskers. As you can see, that solder will follow right down through there. And then just clip this off. Like that. And like I said, make sure you have no whiskers. There we go. Nothing touching. Good. Get ready for the next one. Twist the wire. Shove it through the hole. Bend it. Pull back just a little bit. There you go. Yep. that. As you can see, nothing's touching, like it's grand. Bring this around here and give yourself enough. I guess I pre-bend it. Should go right into that hole right there, just like that. Bend it up. That should follow it right down, in which it did. And just clip off that end. Just like that. And then just add just a little bit of solder just to make sure. Oh, there you go. So far, so good. We've got one more to do. That's the 5-bolt one. Damn sure don't want any whiskers on this one. The other ones you can recover, but 5 bolts with whiskers, not a good thing. No. Bend it, pull it back a little bit. And the solder will flow right down, which it did right there. And just clip that off right there. Got a good connection there. That ain't going anywhere. Okay. And here we go again. One last time. Without any drama. Make sure you give yourself enough. Rip that. Twist this really good. There we go. Bend it at a 90. Go. Like that. Grab your solder. There you go. Clip off any whiskers. sure you don't have any whiskers anywhere. So you take your side cutters or strippers or whatever it is that you're using. I got a whisker there. Not anymore. Okay, and there you have it. All done. Soldered good. Okay, look under here, make sure. Yep. Okay, so, needless to say, there you go. There's the wires installed. Okay. It's a little tedious. It can be a real pain in the ass, but you know what? It is what it is. Because we don't, you know, the main thing about doing this is to actually get over that chip right there. You see? So, of course, you know, I mean, that's the reason why. So that thing settles right there like that. Alright? So now, as you can see, there you go. Now, once that's done, alright, this is what you're going to do. Okay? With the bottom board, okay, what I do with this is this right here. Okay? I'm going to flux this and this. Okay. These pins here, all these pads we're going to flux, and then what we're going to do is we're going to break off some more solder here. Okay, because this also helps locate the top chip, as well as making sure you're going to get a good connection. So we'll apply a little solder, not a lot, just enough to cover the pad. It's like that, little pre-tin, nice and simple. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this, okay, and I'm going to stick that right over here, and those little balls will help locate it for you. Then we're going to take our little jig right here. I'm going to put that right underneath there. Okay. Then I'm going to screw this all down. And don't screw it all the way tight. You don't want to cock the board. Okay. I'm going to make sure that everything is lined up. See, and as you can see, all my points are lined up. Then we're going to hold this and make sure it doesn't shift. Screw that down. Screw that down. One more. Another quarter turn. And we should be good. Now, what I do, and I do this all the time, because it's a smart thing to do, alright, is I take 14-2 copper wire. This is regular house wire, alright, that's used in electrical outlets, alright. And what I do here is, these are your ground points here. These are also anchors. Okay, so what I'll do is I will take this thing and I will shove it down in there. But what I'll do is first I will go ahead and I will flux the son of a gun. That way then it's got flux all the way through. There's a method to my madness. Okay. There we go. And then what we're going to do here, let me see. Where are they? Oh, there they are. Okay. Now, you will feel that go slip right down in there. And that will become very, very steady. Okay? And then what you do, cut that off with flush cuts right there. Then flux the next one. Make sure you can get that all the way up through there. And you're going to shove that down in this hole here. Yep, and there we go. I just slid right down in there. Straighten it out. And then cut that son of a gun off flush right there, just like that. Alright. And flux the son of a gun again. I'm going to flux this point here. Here. There, and there. Now, I'm going to take your solder, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn on my big iron. Okay, and now I'm going to use a little iron to do these points right here. Okay, so you just want to go ahead and just swap that around a little bit. Make sure the cup's full. There we go. Well, pretty much that takes care of that. Now, I'm going to get quite a bit of solder here. And there's a reason for that. So now I'm going to use my big iron. And there's a wedge tip on it, but that's okay, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and angle this like this. I'm going to flatten out that piece, and I'm going to shove this There we go. That's one. And then we're going to do the same thing here. And we should be good there too. Yeah, just a little bit more just for the hell of it. There we go. Okay. Now, I would say that that is pretty well anchored and grounded, okay? To say the least. And we're going to undo this. I'm going to undo this one right here. Okay. And of course this is going to be real cute to come off because it actually melted some of the jig. There we go. Okay. Now. Alright. Jig's off. Life is grand. And what we're going to do, we're going to take our flush cuts. Whee! Okay, so we're good there. Alright. Then we're going to take a little bit of flux. Just like that. And like that. And then we're going to take this big iron once again. And we're going to make sure that this thing is actually grounded to the board. There we go. And we're done with the big iron. Now, if that goes anywhere, I'll eat this motherboard. Okay? I will eat it. Literally. With salt and pepper. But anyway, as you can see, all of our grounds are good. Everything is good. Everything is tight. It's not going anywhere. Okay? Now, oh yes. Before the idiots get on here and say, I didn't clean the flux up or anything. It's going to come apart again anyway because I'm going to be modding this thing. And I also have to change the capacitors on it too. So, just so you know. Because a lot of people say, oh man, you didn't clean the flux up, blah, blah, blah. Shut up! You freaking imbecile. Okay. I love people. But anyway, alright. That's how you do that. Okay? It's on there. It's real good. Alright. Now, we're going to make sure, though. Alright. We followed the guide. As you can see. Now, that's for the SPDIF, and that's only for 1.0 and 1.1 motherboards. Okay, but anyway. Alright, as you can see, it's all done. Everything's on there and is correct. Alright, so. Now. As it says here, do not screw the motherboard in place. Well, screw the motherboard in place, but do not use the original AV port screws on this new HDMI assembly. They aren't long enough, and the signal pads are too close to the screws. The screws make contact with the metal Faraday cage and are therefore grounded earth. There is a high probability of shorting the signal pads to ground earth. That's why you use the nylon washers with the special screws that he has provided in this kit. Alright? Now. Alright. Now that this is done. Alright. Now. Okay. I'm going to explain this to you very simply. Alright, look. This piece does not go like this. Okay? It does not. Tony yelled at me because I did that. And I'm like going like, a whoopsie. Alright, so. This whole Faraday cage has to come out. You have to remove the power supply. Make sure that it's been discharged. Because if you grab hold of one of these leads from this capacitor right here, you are going to go on your ass. Okay, I promise you. Alright? So, you've got to make sure before that this thing is discharged, okay? But, once you remove the fan, the Faraday cage, this thing slips behind here, okay? And it fits on the plastic, and then you put the Faraday cage back on it, okay? Just to let you know, alright? Now, mind you, it is, what is it? It's 11:44 p.m., okay? So, we're just going to set this in and see if this thing actually will work. Alright? So now what we're going to do is we're going to place that in there like that. We're going to use our special little screws that he provided. Now, if your alignment's right and everything is right with the world, these things should go right in without any headache at all. Okay, that's one. Do not go gorilla and tighten them up like a maniac, okay? Don't have to be super tight. Yeah, you little mother. Everything is so compact. Hey. Well, I shouldn't say that. The PlayStation 2 is horrible. Alright, now. That screw. Put that one in there. Just to make sure it's locked down in there. Alright. Now. Yep. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ground the motherboard with one screw right here. That way the motherboard is grounded for sure. Alright. Now we don't have to plug all the controllers back in, but I'm doing it anyway. Plug your power cord in. Like that. Okay. There we are. All right. Now, we can only pray that everything is right with the world and that this thing is going to freaking work. Okay? We should see the Xbox logo regardless, even though the hard drive is not hooked up and all that other happy nonsense. Okay? Take our HDMI. Slip that in. Okay. All right. Now, let's see what we got here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and put that on port 2. And I'm going to power this puppy on. And there we are. Okay? So, there you have it. There's your 720p with an HDMI. Alright? So now we can pull that out of there. It's all right with the world. Okay? And there you have it. So, you should have something that looks like that when you're done. Now, if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. Alright? I mean, I really don't. But anyway, guys, listen. Thanks for watching. Greatly appreciate that. Remember, pay TK's Custom Supermodz a little visit. All these kits are readily available. Okay, he's got all the components, including the Electron Shepherd chip as well. It's very fast shipping, and he's good at what he does. And believe me, if you follow this guide exactly and you do exactly what I just did, you should not have a problem at all. Okay? Anyway, guys, listen. You'll have a good one. I'm going to holler at you later. Have a great night, morning, afternoon, whatever it is, because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my ass to bed. Y'all have a good one. Hope you enjoyed the guide. Thank you very much.